Whoops.
Un momento. Let's try that again.
Hello, for real, everyone. Welcome to the LPTV Club, where we discuss episodes of shows across the Disney family. Talk about 6 different shows. Today, we'll be having a bit of a Disney Channel palooza, as we'll talk about DuckTales, Mickey Mouse Mixed Up Adventures, Secrets of Sulphur Springs, Big City Greens, Amphibia, and The Simpsons for some reason. So, before we do all that, let me introduce everybody. I'm Kyle. Over there is Benjamin.
Hello.
Below him is Alexander.
Hi.
And below me is Anthony.
Oh, don't say it. I hate that name so much.
Wow.
Everyone got formal names today for some reason. That's what happens when I'm in charge.
Yeah, well.
So
that was your freebie.
As I see it, we have there's one oddball out of this list today of shows we're going to talk about. So let's start off with the one that I actually saw as well, and that is The Simpsons. So Alex, do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, now under the DMed umbrella, obviously formerly Fox Animation and Matt Groening. So this episode of The Simpsons is number 699 for those of you who have been counting ever since number 1, which means next week is a very special episode. This one's called "Do Pizza Bots Dream of Electric Guitars?" ? And every couple of years, because The Simpsons doesn't age up the characters, they have to reinvent the origin stories. So this was yet another reinvention of Homer's youth. This time he's a teenager in the 1990s, super 90s, but they don't say exactly what year. And apparently he has another childhood trauma that goes back to when he worked at Razzle Dazzle's Pizza-tainment Palace, which is very much a Chuck E. Cheese style restaurant. And he operated the tech booth for the animatronic show. And when it broke down, he freestyled, got behind one of the animatronics and puppeteered it, and sort of found his lost calling. And then it was run by Gil, and as we know, nothing ever goes well for Gil long term. So right as he's about to reinvent the show as his own like funky fresh version of this animatronic show, the FBI raids it, and all the animatronics are stuffed with bags of cocaine, and it's the end of story. Flash forward, and Homer's having all these issues, and I'm trying to remember why Jason or J.J. Abrams came involved. Do you remember, Kyle?
No.
Okay, that's right. I'm looking back
because he wanted to reboot it, like use it as inspiration for a reboot.
But the reason that happened was Marge and Moe noticed that Homer's not himself, and were trying to help him. So Bart had found from Gil living in Little LA, a section of Springfield that's just a tent city under a bypass. And he had a list of like where all of his animatronics went. So they were sold off individually to other collectors, and they get to the last one. And as they were trying to get it, J.J. Abrams' assistants were buying it, not for any purpose other than it's necessary for him to be constantly surrounded by childlike wonderment. So they needed one of these Chuck E. Cheese style animatronic figures. And so Bart and Lisa sneak into Bad Robot, and they steal the figure. They steal the figure by rolling it out on pink versions of BB-8. And then they get caught. And of course, when J.J. Abrams voicing himself enters the frame, there is a huge lens flare. And anyway, inspired by Homer's, disbelief at seeing this animatronic figure again, he decides to reboot it into like the pizza or the Agents of Pizza. And pizza is an acronym, and it's an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. logo. And then it kind of gets into this other subplot about rebooting things that meant something to you as a child and ruining it. There's a really funny moment where Comic Book Guy has kind of a one-on-one with Homer about trolling and inspires Homer to become an online troll. Later, when the movie's premiering, Comic Book Guy is part of a picket line with other movie complainers. One of them is unreleased the Snyder Cut. And another one is release the Sonic teeth cut, because Comic Book Guy does take credit for having forced Sony to change Sonic's teeth, but never actually seeing the other version of Sonic because he didn't care that much, which is funny. And then this episode was in memory of David Richardson, who was a writer and producer on the show way back in its 5th season. And I think the fact that this has 90s aesthetics in it was kind of interesting. Also a little bit poignant because Chuck E. Cheese's are actually removing their animatronics. Most of them are going animatronic free, which is sad. So it's kind of touching on that as well, that, you know, these animatronic figures, whether it's Chuck E. Cheese or can't remember the other one, Showtime Pizza.
Showbiz Pizza.
Biz Pizza.
Yeah.
You know, whichever of them you grew up with. I thought this episode was kind of fun for that. It wasn't as funny as last week's episode. In my opinion, this was probably one of the weaker episodes this season, but still fun. The story took it to some fun places, and I am curious to see what they've got cooking for number 700.
I thought it was fun that JJ voiced himself, and that, of course, Greg Grunberg was in it as well. Although I take issue with there being a Bad Robot logo on the van and on the studio, because knowing JJ, that would not be the case. Having been to Bad Robot Studios where it's got like a fake name on the outside. So
well, and they also had inside of the Bad Robot Studios, they had a Cosmic Wars poster in the thing, and there were fun gags, like they walk by a bin and it's lost footage, and it's the Lost TV show logo, and then like a few steps away out of like that comes into frame is found footage, and found is the same logo as Lost. They had some fun with a lot of the things that he's done. Also, the like security guard at Bad Robot was like in Star Trek carrying a taser. It was like one of the Star Trek suits. So they had fun with that aspect of it. I did love the fact that like Homer's like, oh no, what happened then is happening again now, but slightly different. And JJ was like right before commercial break, he's like, yeah, that's what I do. So it was fun that he mocked himself.
Yeah, that's why I figured as time went on that it was really JJ, but of course you want to wait till the credits to know for sure. But does anyone happen to know what the title of this episode is a reference to?
If you do, please tell me, because I was lost on that.
It's Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, the novel that Blade Runner is based on.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I had no clue.
I just thought Simpsons was running out of titles finally.
Yeah.
No, it's a sci-fi reference.
Done it all at 700 episodes.
So next, I guess we'll send it over to Tony for either one of the two you want to talk about first.
Well, I will not have that lengthy of an explanation as Alex did. Sorry.
That's fine. You got 15-minute episodes. He's got a half hour.
I think they're even shorter once you take out the buffering ads. Well, I'll kick it off with Amphibia. Amphibia, this was my first foray into that show. I got to say, I do need to catch up because I am kind of lost on why. One half of it, they were talking about getting Anne back home and they needed a music box. I'm completely unaware of what that entails, so I definitely need to start going back. I did a quick little wiki read, and I'm still confused.
The music boxes actually got sent there.
That's what I got from the opening of the show, but I'm like, but why are they hiding it? Why is it dangerous? Because we find out that Hop Hop, who I cannot not hear Goofy, because it's still Bill Farmer providing the voice. When he starts talking about hiding it, why is it hidden? What's dangerous about it? And they show later on in the episode a book that says it's like the bringer of chaos or something like that. Like, oh, that does sound bad. And then end of episode. So we don't know what it means. But the first half of it I thought was interesting because I didn't need all that backstory. And that was Ivy is wanting to get out and leave her mom, run away from home because her mom's rules are too strict. She doesn't like the way the mom's running the place. And she has her doing all these like tea lesson chores because I guess they own a restaurant or a cafe or something. And she just wants to get out and explore the world and learn martial arts. By the end of the episode, we realize all those tea lessons on how to pour the tea and like fold the tablecloth are all secret martial arts lessons so that she can go traveling with her mom when she's old and ready. I thought that was kind of cute. But we'll go back to Big City Greens, my new favorite show that brings me to feel like a child, because I feel like I'm 10 years old just giggling and watching this show.
Tilly's the best.
I like Tilly a lot. Gloria, I think, is my favorite on that show, hands down. There's one episode recently where because Cricket has cost her 2 jobs now, and I think after this recent episode 3. But so she has been forced to move in with them, but she turned the siblings fighting into a reality show in a previous episode. She just sits there watching them with her cup of coffee going, delicious. And I was like, I love Gloria. Grandma too. I like Grandma a lot. But anyway, in the first half of Big City Greens, like I said, Gloria lost her job twice now at both Big Coffee and Wholesome Foods, which were right next to the Greens' house in the middle of the city. And now has been replaced by a clown burger or burger clown. Sorry, burger clown.
Maybe a Krusty Burger reference.
If you took everything dark and demented about Krusty and isolated into itself, yes, because that thing was terrifying. There's a part because it's the mascot and he goes, have a burger. And his like human hands come out of the mouth and hands them a free burger. And he's promising to feed everybody who comes into the restaurant for the first week for free. Which is trouble for Cricket because he lives right next door. And his dad, who owns a farm full of fresh fruits and vegetables, is trying to convince him you need to eat more than just Burger Clown burgers. Otherwise, you're going to get very sick. And he says that as a turn of phrase, I'll bet that you'll get sick within a week. Of course, Cricket takes that literally. And they bet that he could eat every meal as Burger Clown for a week. Tilly gets violently ill and starts only eating the fresh fruits and vegetables. But Cricket just keeps going back for more of them burgers. And I think Dan Fogel is his name. I remember him more from Fanboys, but he's credited as also in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he does a whole song, which I'm pretty sure is called Bergs and Fries, because it talks about, it's almost like a riff of Be Our Guest, but different. Not like See My Vest from The Simpsons, where it's beat by beat and you know that song better than the original. But he just
still flippers.
See right there. But he just keeps yelling with bugs and fries, and they keep feeding him. After the end of the song, Cricket is grossly overweight, and he takes sweat naps, and he can't fit through his exit hole in his room, his secret exit.
Is this episode titled Super Size Me by any chance?
No, but that's what it felt a lot like, a kids-friendly version of Super Size Me. I think down to the outfit, that might have been a subtle parody on that, because he's just wearing a little gray tracksuit. But
sweatpants are all that fits me right now.
It's called Fast Foodie. That's the name of the episode. I had to think about that for a second. It's called Fast Foodie. Easily, of the episodes I've seen, which is about probably the first half of the first season and now the bulk of the second season, it's probably top 5 for me. I was cracking up the whole time, except for when the weird human hands, and they were like, Big City Greens has a style to it, and these were eerily accurate human hands that came out to kind of throw you and make you just uncomfortable. But I like that a lot. The second half was good, but it wasn't as good as Fast Foodie. It was called Spaghetti Theory, and it played on the real idea that everybody is connected in some way.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, exactly. And Tilly is the one that brought it up in her very quaint, educated way, and is describing that everybody in the city's got to be connected, and Cricket doesn't believe it. And they're out delivering the farm's fresh fruits and vegetables to the neighborhood in the apartment building next door. And they talk to Brett, and they propose that theory. And Cricket says, well, if your theory's right, then whatever you just told him to do, which was clean his apartment, that's going to set off a chain reaction throughout the city. And it does. We see like his apartment so infested with mold and creatures that it like starts attacking him. And then he flings something out the window and it goes down. Oh no, the downstairs neighbor hears the noise. Either way, it just every character we've pretty much been introduced to so far makes an appearance, whether it be just like a brief part or Vasquez. We learn more about his background as a spy with Viper Fang, like is hiding in Remy's bedroom, and it just becomes this whole chaotic thing. And at the end, Gloria loses another delivery job after she lost her job at the Burger Clown. So technically that's 4 jobs now that Cricket has cost her. But she ends up they end up knocking into a hot dog cart that rolls down a hill at Cricket and Tilly, and then now they're out of food because their delivery's gone, but all these hot dogs have now exploded everywhere. So proving Tilly's theory right. But it wasn't as good as Fast Foodie.
Well, we're going to save the DuckTales finale for the end. So
you mean the finale?
What did I say?
No, the DuckTales finale for the finale.
Oh, for the the glorious 3-hour finale.
Yep.
So in the meantime, Ben, if you could tell us about whatever they're calling the preschooler Mickey Mouse show these days.
Mickey's Mixed Up Adventures. So sort of the spiritual successor for Mickey and the Roadster Racers, which was
so spiritual that if you Google Mixed Up Adventures, it still calls it Mickey's Roadster.
Yeah, I think it's like
3 of Mickey and the Roadster Racers retitled.
Yeah, it's Mickey and the Roadster. It's like when they switched it from Jonas to Jonas LA, the 3rd season.
Or Tangled the series to Rapunzel's Tangled Adventures.
Yeah, I don't know why Disney does that, but they love renaming their shows.
Yeah, except for Cougar Town.
Right?
What would the alternative have been?
Something
anything but they lost the concept that they started with completely.
So the first part isn't necessarily tied to a race anymore. So Mickey wants to sing a song for Minnie in a talent show, but she sings the same song, so he's worried that she'll sing it better than he does, and he'll look foolish. And then in the end, they
inspired plot.
Yeah, it was pretty bland. And then the second part was the Happy Helpers part of the show. And so this time, 2 different people call Minnie. So usually Minnie and Daisy work as a team, but they got calls like right successively about making lemonade stands. So Minnie and Daisy end up having competing lemonade stands. But I hate to break it to you, in the end, they become friends again. But the best part is like Mickey is jamming, like he's like just has the radio on, and he has the hot dog song, like a radio edit of the hot dog song going. So he's like, everybody, and I was like, oh, like he's just jamming to his own TV theme. So it made me wonder if like if Agatha Harkness is just going like bops to her own song. She's not, terrorizing Wanda Maximoff. But we generally don't talk a lot about Disney Junior. I mean, there wasn't a lot of episodes, and I committed to doing 6. But I hate to say it, I think it's my least favorite Disney Junior show.
Currently on air or ever?
No, currently on air. Like, I love Puppy Dog Pals.
Hit that roly-poly-oly. I'm sorry.
But, I think it's just the problem with like Mickey, where it's like he's only going to get so mad, he's only going to get so frustrated. It's not like classic Mickey where he has an attitude. Like he's so bland that it's like, well, we know, as soon as he has the conflict, what the resolution is going to be, and it's not clever enough, I think, to have the through line. Like at least with the race, when it was Roadster Racers, it had some action to it, with the race and some sight gags. So
what's the
last season of the show? Maybe it's just running on fumes.
What's the name of the new one? Because this is ending, and they have a new one ready to go. It's like Mickey's House or something,
right? And I think it's kind of going more to the Mickey Mouse Club, like a little bit more back to that sort of style. But
the tools.
So they just dropped Club Mickey Mouse House.
It's something. It's like the image they released is like a smiley faced house, like almost like the from like Johnny Fedora and Alice Bluebonnet era, where it's like houses where it's like the eyes and the door make the face. You know what I'm talking about?
That sounds horrifying.
Yeah.
I
just like that. That's where the reference went. It went so far.
Is it like walking into Woody's mouth?
The little blue coupe era.
What was the name of the little house where they did that?
That's what I was thinking of. There's that short, The Little House, and I can't remember her name, but it's like all of those were made like within 2 years of each other.
Oh, it's a girl house.
It is a girl house. She's got a uvula. That's from Monster House, a Steven Spielberg movie. I'm not being sexist. Boys have uvulas too. That was the joke.
I'm getting it as it's just called The Little House.
Right. Does she have a name? I know it's like the newlywed couple move in, and then I'm
going to go on a limb and say this whole thing was narrated by Sterling Holloway.
Ooh, Sterling Holloway.
Well, while we figure that out, do you want to talk about the only live action show on the slate today?
It was Sterling Holloway.
Secrets of Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, this was the season finale. We found out they've definitely committed to a second season without formally announcing it because they left it on a cliffhanger and it was popular, so they pretty much have to. Now, each episode has ended on a cliffhanger, but I was kind of curious if the season finale wouldn't wrap things up. This one did kind of bring in a new mystery at the end, still involving time travel. But kind of where we left off going into this was Harper had gone back to 2011 without telling Griffin in hopes of saving her dead father from the car crash that killed him. She does save him from getting in a car crash, but then goes to the present and he's not there still. And then she kind of has this repressed memory coming back, and her dad actually died in a much more gruesome way. He drowned when he was taking her kayaking on a lake later that same day. And she had it was so traumatic for her that she had repressed that and come up with this new story that her dad died in a car crash. And the therapist told the mom, go with that story. It's easier for her to live with. So she didn't end up saving her dad, which was, maybe the realest I've seen Disney Channel get ever. Like that.
True confessions.
I think even compared to True Confessions, like forgetting how your parent died in a horrible way that you were present to is more than just True living with her brother with special needs and trying to have a normal life for herself, which is that special movie on Disney Plus, a Disney Channel original movie most people forgot, starring Shia LaBeouf. Anywho, that story kind of wraps itself up, and then Savannah comes to the present from the past, something she kind of vowed never to do, bringing with her a picture of Savannah, of Harper in 1930 that was found sealed in the wall of the Tremont Hotel, which was converted from a farmhouse. So with this picture, they're like, what the heck? And they set the radio to go back to 1930, and they find this farmhouse that was there before it was the Tremont. By the way, the hauntings in the Tremont stopped and then started again for Griffin's younger brother and sister, the twins. And the new haunter is constantly rocking a chair. And when they asked if it was Savannah, it fogged up a mirror and wrote no in it kind of creepily. So anyway, they go to this house. They enter.
I want to see you do that not creepily.
Huh?
How do you do that not creepily?
I don't know. I guess you could put like little hearts. You take like the Oa heart, wouldn't be as menacing. I don't know.
Oh, hold on, I can't. What was the word?
No.
No. Okay.
Spelling. Yes. Again, Rebecca. That was. It got really heavy, and then they were just kind of like, okay, new story. So Savannah comes back. So they go to 1930. They don't knock. They just enter the farmhouse that later becomes the Tremont Hotel. They go up to the second floor. Oh, and by the way, there's a radio playing in the living room, and it's the radio that will become the time machine. But they've apparently now gone far enough back in time that the radio is not a time machine, which leads me to believe they're going to be stuck in 1930, that they're not going to be able to get back. And then they go upstairs and they see a man in the rocking chair. He kind of like turns his head and they run scared. And then as they run out, they come face to face with someone who looks exactly like Harper in, period clothes. So it's kind of like, is this her grandma that just happens to look like her? Is she a clone? Is it a parallel universe? Like, there's so many ways they could go with it. And that's where it ends. So there's definitely going to be at least a second season or a decom to finish it off. We're going to get more to the story of Secrets of Sulphur Springs eventually. And it was quite the shocking twist. I would say it did feel like it kind of came out of left field, but based on the way the story has gone so far, I still trust them to, make a good story out of it, because I really liked the journey that they took us through with the first season.
How many episodes was that?
Just 11. And after episode 4, they've all been named after song titles. So this one was named Time After Time, a really good Cyndi Lauper song off her debut album.
I know it more from a Kodak commercial.
Route.
Yeah, Cyndi Lauper also wrote the pre-show to Honey, I Shrunk the Audience.
Or she wrote a song called True Colors that they used in the pre-show for Honey, I Shrunk the Audience because it became the Kodak theme song.
And they also made a Descendants announcement during that, didn't they? During the broadcast of the
They did, which I still haven't seen, but I've heard what the Descendants announcement was, because I had the privilege of seeing Secrets of Sulphur Springs early and without commercials. But I guess they are doing a new animated special, I believe, or short, of the wedding of Mal and Ben, Prince Ben. Yeah?
Yes.
Sure. We'll go with Ben.
Who's Prince Ben?
He is the son of Belle and Beast.
Okay. Beast not being Adam, just Beast.
Being, I think in this named Adam. I think they do drop at some point that his name is Adam, but that's only for this version because Disney says no.
Yeah.
Where was it? I can't remember. I remember we looked this up recently.
It was like a little golden or something.
Foo-hurrah over another name.
Yeah, Rebecca will know. It was something about
Florian from Snow White.
Yeah.
That's not a name.
People just make things up, and
hold
on.
Only in Harry Potter land.
This is unrelated to anything, but hold on, let me look this up now.
Florian runs the ice cream shop.
We're gonna see if this is says it's Adam in here.
I have always wanted that book, by the by. I remember they used to like give it away if you signed up for Disney Channel, but we already did, and my mom wouldn't buy it for me. And I remember seeing it in a Disney store once.
It looks like he has an answer. Do you have an answer?
No, I'm getting there.
All right. Well, while you do that, should we move on to the DuckTales series finale?
This one hurt. It was such a great episode, and it hurt that it was over. Like, I just wanted it, like, it was an extended episode, but like it didn't feel extended enough. Like, I wanted just to keep going. But for the third season, they've been battling foul, and the head of that organization, it kind of is revealed throughout the season. His whole mission is to just have order, and it's kind of like the First Order, like the Empire. It's like, I don't want any adventure. So with all the objects that we've seen throughout the season, he kind of creates this plan to abolish Scrooge McDuck and his family, because they are particularly Scrooge McDuck, because he's like instigates all this adventure. So April and May end up coming. They end up going and discovering April and May inside the Funzo, which is actually Foul's headquarters. And so they go in, they get April and May, and it turns out it's a clone of Webby, or at least that's what they think. And then so they bring in April and May, and Webby's just so excited to have a family that, she trusts them when she shouldn't. And she ends up getting, they all end up going to this Foul base, which was all the plan to begin with. They wanted her to discover the twins, and because they felt that she was the key to executing this plan so that they would end adventure. So everyone essentially goes, from Darkwing Duck, Gizmo Duck, the whole crew end up going to this base. And there's a character who you've seen, the statue Horseman. Turns out he's actually a gargoyle. And so
from the show Gargoyles, are they bringing that back?
It's not like exactly, but it's voiced by Goliath. And so they play the dun 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 dun, and like his wings come up. I mean, it's a little bit, it's sort of DuckTales a 5 because Gargoyle was pretty. But so they reference that, and in the end, it turns out Fowl has captured all of the characters that we've seen from the Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck, Gizmo Duck, the Gummy Bears, like all the characters, and it says, I want to say his name Buford, but the name's escaping me, but the head buzzard of Fowl, and says for 30 years, kind of referencing, and he shows scenes of various DuckTales Disney afternoon shows, basically. You've been causing all this adventure, and I want to stop it. So he ends up, they end up sort of all battling, but in the end, Scrooge, there's this paper that's revealed, I think it's season 1, where it's like, if you sign it, it has to come true. So he signs that, he will no longer, he will, if they spare his family, he will not adventure anymore. But in the end, they Buford just kind of throws Webby down the pit anyway to just sort of annihilates them from history. But because family is the biggest adventure at all, the whole deal kind of unravels, and it's revealed that Webby is actually a clone of Scrooge McDuck, and that her original clone name was April. So she is one of April, May, and June. And so they all kind of become together, family. You have everyone from the genie, from DuckTales Treasure of the Lost Lamp. And it all comes together in a way that kind of perfectly captures the show, but also kind of ties it into the whole Disney afternoon universe that they were kind of establishing throughout the show. It's 90 minutes. I can't do it justice in the time we have. But when I nearly lost it when they started playing the Gargoyles theme, I just completely, and it's just sad because there was, between this and Treasures of the Three Caballeros, there was just so much good duck stuff, and I'm sad because it's all over. I know they're making the Chip and Dale movie, but yes.
I have a question about how cloning works.
Yeah.
Doesn't it just become like a mini me?
You would think so. Obviously.
Well, if you mix in the DNA of a West Indian bullfrog,
I think there's a gender situation, and if I'm not mistaken, they don't go into the full details of the cloning process, but I would like to say ducks can actually change their gender. Which is
like frogs?
Yeah, like in frogs.
Do they need, like some other animals that do they need a parasite to cause it? That happens in crabs, but a parasite is involved to turn male crabs into female crabs so they can breed more parasites.
I think this is DuckTales, and don't think
Larry, I'm on DuckTales.
I just assume that when you clone something, you either get a sheep that looks just like that sheep, you get Barbra Streisand's dogs that look just like Barbra Streisand's dogs, you get Vern Troyer out of Dr. Evil, and you get any old human's ear on the back of a mouse.
It's a cartoon show.
Okay.
Good answer.
But I highly recommend. I want to do a DuckTales rewatch because it all kind of they have these. It's not like the original show where Scrooge and the kids are all go on every adventure every week. There's definitely episodes that just feature 2 characters or 3 characters, and it all kind of ties together in the end, which I think is just it's almost like Lost or something, except better.
Or a real series.
Yeah, it's like a real show. So,
well, just wait till you get to play the Epcot game.
The Epcot game?
Yep, DuckTales World Showcase Adventure. It's going to be on the Play Disney Parks app.
It's that thing where when there's a successful Disney animated show, they make an Epcot game that poignantly comes out right when that show ends.
Yep.
Although I'm curious about this DuckTales podcast that starts next week.
This Duckburg Life.
Yeah.
So I'm a new DuckTales newbie. I heard a rumor that Darkwing Duck is getting a spinoff out of this. Is that true?
Darkwing Duck is getting a Disney Plus series. It is unknown if it is connected to this DuckTales or its own thing. But they
What's interesting about in this version of DuckTales, Darkwing Duck is a TV show. And so the actor, Drake Mallard, plays Darkwing Duck on TV and voiced by Jim Cummings. But in the end, he's just a jerk. And so one of the fans becomes Darkwing Duck, and he becomes Negaduck.
And that's Lin-Manuel, right?
No, he's Gizmo Duck.
Okay.
There's a lot of ducks.
You think?
Yeah. One of my favorite pieces of trivia about the Animaniacs is that they were almost going to be ducks, but somebody in the boardroom said, there's too many ducks on TV. They're not going to be ducks.
So they made them Boscos.
Yes. Yeah.
I'd like to say that seems like completely inappropriate.
What? Too many ducks?
It seems like, I don't know, speciesist.
Sure.
Anyway.
Did you hear about the time they put Yakko, Wacko, and Dot on the Warner Brothers water tower?
Well, they live there.
No, but like in the real world.
I'm sorry, what?
They put
They're
like
not real?
They're
not real?
What?
They're not real?
When we were at Taste of Universal, I waved to them.
Yeah.
They put like balloons of them like on top of the water tower, and then I guess the head of Warner Brothers was at the Smokehouse restaurant in Burbank, just like down the road, and says, "Why is Mickey Mouse on my water tower?" And then they had to remove him.
I know that there's very few photos of that. I didn't know that was why, but
what was his name? Plots.
This also just calls him the Beast, by the way.
Okay.
No Adam.
Well, Rebecca says that at the fabulous Disney Resort Port Orleans Riverside, it has Prince silhouettes in the royal-themed hotel rooms. Offers characters Prince Adam, Prince, and Prince George.
Maybe that's why it hasn't reopened yet.
I'm sure that's why.
It's precisely why.
All I know is John Hahn says no, Walt Disney Feature Animation says no, and they didn't use that name in the live-action retelling.
Also, Rebecca loves the Smokehouse, which I was going to share is the name of George Clooney's production company because he also loves the Smokehouse. I've never been, but I've recommended it to people having not been.
Red.
If you like La La Land, it's the restaurant where Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling have their meet cute at the piano.
I want to call it a meet cute when he knocks her out of its way.
Their meet ugly at the piano.
Okay.
Well, I want some garlic bread now.
Spoiler alert. If you've never seen La La Land.
I didn't spoil anything.
They don't get along at first.
Really? That's like saying, like...
That's a spoiler. Hope you've seen it. The statute of limitations on La La Land have passed.
Right.
Also, I don't know if you know that it didn't win the Oscar.
Well, before we call it a night, I want to go around and see if anyone has anything else they're watching or anything they want to recommend people watch for next week. So we'll start with Benji, which is that way.
I'm gonna go for a little independent Disney Plus series that might fall a little under the radar. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's very different than WandaVision, and you can kind of feel that this was meant to go first because it feels much more Marvel. But the action sequence at the beginning of the first episode is worth the price of admission. It definitely slows down and kind of takes its time, but it starts with a kick-butt action sequence.
Ready for Tony's bi-weekly Marvel question?
Yeah.
Is Agatha in charge of this one too?
I don't know. I won't know till episode 6, but
okay.
I don't think so.
It'd be 5 because it's more than that, but whatever. What about you, Alex?
We can do math on like the ratio of episodes of the 9 episodes of WandaVision versus the 6 episodes of. That's too complicated.
Sorry.
It's okay.
As a lifelong Simpsons fan, I think a milestone like 700 episodes is kind of hard to top. But I will say I have seen the first episode of Genius Aretha, which starts on Sunday on National Geographic. And they're doing, it's 8 episodes long, but they're giving it to you over the course of 4 nights. So 2 episodes each night on National Geographic. a week from tomorrow is Aretha Franklin's birthday. She's not alive to celebrate it, but by that day, with all the episodes appearing the next day on Hulu, you could hypothetically binge the entire season on Hulu that day in celebration. And what I've seen so far of that show, which comes from Imagine Entertainment, which I'm usually a fan of, is excellent. So I highly recommend that as well.
All right, Tony.
So I will say this. When I first saw ads for Big City Greens, I was like, okay, this is 1994 Cartoon Network nonsense, right? And then I started watching it. If you haven't jumped on that show yet, get on that show.
It's no competition.
No, I'll get on the record saying if I ever said anything bad about that show before, I retract it. Jump
if anything,
on.
it's at Dexter's Lab.
Sure. Or Powerpuff Girls even. So
Yeah,
Can't wait for the live action remake with Dove Cameron.
is that happening?
Yeah. Apparently.
For my recommendation, I am going to suggest that people watch Jeremiah do an Easter egg hunt at Epcot tomorrow on this channel at 10:15 a.m.
You can ask him crazy things and he will.
And you'll get to hear me talking. Just talking. You won't see me. Just you'll hear me.
Yep. And if you walk under the right overpass, then your internet might go out. So
that's true too.
And then at 4:00 tomorrow, we have Star Wars Headlines with Mike and Rebecca. So be sure to catch that as well. And might as well, while you're here, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and make sure you hit the bell so you're notified every time we go live. And is there anything else anyone wants to say?
Stay off I-4 and 535. That way I can still keep my internet.
There you go.
Thanks for
Bye,
watching.
everyone.
Bye.